Right now at noon, a two-vehicle crash on the north side of Carl Junction takes the life of a Florida man.
We are breezy, we are turning warmer, but we're also watching more clouds on the way. We'll talk about that forecast coming up.
And former President Donald Trump makes headlines over the weekend when he predicted he'll be arrested this week. We'll tell you why.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A two-vehicle crash on the north side of Carl Junction takes the life of a Florida man. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Carrie Worthen. Shortly after noon on Sunday, a 2022 Honda Civic crossed the center lane and struck a 2019 Freightliner conventional cab. The driver of the Civic, Dorian Francisco of Pines, Florida, was the only occupant. He died at the scene. The roadway was closed for 4 hours for crash investigations. The driver of the semi was not injured. A man searching for antler sheds discovers human skeletal remains in Allen County. A man found them in the area east of Humboldt near Arizona Road and 1800th Street Saturday evening. He called 911. The sheriff's office responded and found human skeletal remains. Agents with the Kansas Bureau of Investigation are assisting in the death investigation. The remains have not been yet identified. Authorities have scheduled an autopsy and investigation is ongoing. Now let's go to Chris Warner with the first look at the forecast.
Yeah, it's turning out to be a pretty decent day for us, and it just so happens, of course, today is the first day of spring, and it officially starts at 4:24 this evening, but we are going to start feeling like spring as the week goes on. 7th and Range Line camera there, you can see a few stray clouds. If we were to point this back to the south, you'd see a few more starting to roll into the area. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line, again, few stray clouds. Otherwise, right now, plentiful sunshine and a lot better than where we were yesterday. We began yesterday at 17 degrees and made it up to a whopping 42 as compared to where our normals are supposed to be for this time of year. And that low, check out how close it was to a record low that was set back in 1965. Now, the good news is today for our first day of spring, nowhere near that. Take a look at these temperatures so far. 55 Yates Center, Neodesha, 53 Parsons, 51 Pittsburgh and Fort Scott, 53 Miami, 51 Neosho, and 53 in Joplin and Carthage. And we're not done warming yet. We got the gusty winds, and of course, it's a bit warmer today. It's a lot warmer today. Temperatures aren't done warming for the week, though. We're going to continue to see them go up as we head toward the middle of the week. But on top of all this nice temperature type stuff, we've got rain and thunderstorm chances that we're keeping an eye on this week as well. We'll talk about your complete forecast and those rain chances that come in as early as tomorrow here in just a few minutes. Gary?
Thanks, Chris. Former President and 2024 presidential candidate Donald Trump has made headlines over the weekend when he predicted he'll be arrested this week, and then called for his supporters for help in a way that reminded many people on January 6th. Former President Trump is calling for his supporters to take action as he faces possible indictment and arrest. On social media, he wrote, "We must save America. Protest, protest, protest." The Manhattan District Attorney is investigating alleged hush money payments made to the adult film star Stormy Daniels on Trump's behalf prior to the 2016 election. There's concern Trump's words could lead to violence similar to January 6th, while some of his supporters are questioning why this case is even being pursued when federal prosecutors passed it on. CBS News legal analyst Ricky Kleinman expects indicted Trump will surrender to authorities, but not Tuesday. And she says it's unlikely anyone will see the former president in a perp walk. Today, a defense witness is expected to challenge the credibility of Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, who allegedly made the payments, and Cohen may be called back to refute that testimony. Meetings between China's President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin are underway in Russia. The visit from China's leader is a diplomatic boost to Putin just days after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for him for war crimes related to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Nicole D'Antonio reports from the White House, where the Biden administration is following the developments.
The leaders of China and Russia shook hands at the Kremlin Monday as they began a series of face-to-face meetings. China's President Xi Jinping called Russia's President Vladimir Putin a, quote, dear friend during the informal talks. The high-profile visit is seen as a show of not only diplomatic but economic support for Putin's war in Ukraine.
They're providing all sorts of technological capabilities that are important to sustaining Russia's war-making machine.
President Biden spoke with China's President Xi ahead of the three-day trip. The White House says President Biden told his counterpart there would be consequences if China provides support to Russia. The meetings between Xi and Putin come just days after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Putin for the deportation and abduction of children from Ukraine to Russia.
It is really a very sad occasion and a very somber occasion that for the first time ever, judges of the International Criminal Court, of any court, have felt it necessary to issue warrants against a leader.
Over the weekend, Putin made an unannounced visit to Mariupol, driving himself through the Ukrainian city that Russia's military bombed, seized, then annexed last May. It's believed to be the closest Putin has come to the front lines since he started the war. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, the White House.
Moscow doesn't recognize the ICC's jurisdiction, and Russia's investigative committee said it is opening a criminal case against the prosecutor and 3 judges of the ICC over the arrest warrants. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on the KOAM News at noon, the cost of living has gone up since the pandemic. We'll have the results of which cities are the least affordable and why. And later we're making old-fashioned pierogies in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. The cost of living has gone up significantly during the pandemic. Joy Benedict has the results of the study that shows which cities are the least affordable and why.
Jacob Marker and Matt Garrison share a 2-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles that can feel a little cramped at times.
It's not the Taj Mahal.
Marker is a barista making minimum wage, which is $16 an hour in LA, so having his own apartment just isn't an option.
It's definitely rough knowing that the way I make my money will never be enough.
As a video game designer, Garrison fares a little better financially, but has had at least one roommate for the last 7 years.
The amount I pay barely would cover the apartment if I were to be here alone.
But these renters are doing better than most. A recent study from Zillow says it would typically take almost 3 people working full-time minimum wage jobs to afford a 2-bedroom in LA, and it's much worse in cities where the minimum wage is lower.
In Austin, it would take a little over 5 full-time minimum wage workers to afford a 2-bedroom rental.
Jeff Tucker is an economist for Zillow.
Austin and then Atlanta are the 2 most unaffordable. And that's because these are 2 cities that are pretty expensive, growing, in-demand cities that still have that federal minimum wage of just $7.25 an hour.
Fresno, California fares the best, requiring only 1.6 full-time jobs to afford a 2-bedroom.
I think what this goes to show is that local policy measures can make a really big difference in raising people's incomes to help deal with that high cost of living.
Marker isn't going to leave LA, but he hopes new opportunities will come along so he can finally get his own space. Joy Benedict, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Join us today as we share an old world recipe for pierogies that I'm sure you're going to love. I know I do.
We are mild and breezy today, watching rain chances as we head into our Tuesday. We'll take a look at all of that when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. It is already much nicer than where we were yesterday at this time, and it is only going to get better sans some rain chances. And we'll talk about those rain chances. First, look at our camera at 7th and Range Line. The wind is picking up. It's been rattling the camera from time to time. And we take a look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line. We've got those clear skies. You can see a few more stray clouds out there, and if we were to point either of these, if they were pointed back to the south, you'd see more clouds that are on their way in. See, it even compared to earlier in the show, this line of clouds was a lot further back as they continue to advance. So right now, we're still looking good. We've got mostly clear skies, clouds building from the south, 53 in Joplin, And check out this wind, though. South-southwest at 20, gusting to 32. And we're going to continue to see those gusts from 25 to 35 miles an hour as we go through the rest of the day and into the early evening. And there may even be an occasional gust upwards of 40 out there as well. Quite breezy, but quite warm. 53 Iola, 51 Fort Scott, Nevada, Pittsburgh, Chetopa, 53 in Miami, Carthage, 52 in Lamar, and another 51 in Neosho. So overall, not bad. And remember, we topped out yesterday in the low 40s, so this is much better. And we're not done warming up yet. We've still got the blustery conditions. Clouds will continue to increase as we go through the evening hours, but we're still expected to make it right about 57 degrees out there. So a very pleasant first day of spring for us, although technically still below average. We go into tonight. The winds will let up briefly. We may even see a little bit of clearing later tonight before clouds march back in as we head into the overnight. We drop back down to a low of 40, and that is because we have got rain and maybe even a thunderstorm or two coming in as we kick off our day. By 7 a.m., showers already in progress. We'll get a break from them right around the noon hour, and this is where tomorrow's forecast gets a little more interesting. Now, obviously, as the day goes on, the temperature warms up. That's obvious. We reach our high and then we come back down, reach our low. But see how late it is and the temperature is still climbing. So technically, we may hit a high tomorrow in the 50s when in reality we'll spend the majority of our day in the upper 40s, but temperatures tomorrow are going to continue to rise as we head into the evening and overnight hours. And our best chances of rain, of course, right there through the morning hours, and we could see even a few showers very early tomorrow morning as well, say 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they'll taper off a bit, but then as we head into the evening, we'll also see the possibility of maybe some redevelopment of some showers across the area. So this is 9 o'clock Tuesday. There you can see a stray shower or two possible again later in the evening, and then maybe into very early Wednesday morning. Now, once we get through, temperatures again continue to rise through the evening and into tomorrow, so check out what we're looking at tomorrow across the area. Still a bit on the cloudy side, but not bad. And then we head into Thursday. We have a cold front that's going to start to march into the area by late morning. It's going to trigger a few showers at first, and then we're going to start to see more widespread showers and thunderstorm activity overspread the area. But that doesn't have a big hindrance on our temperatures, believe it or not. As a matter of fact, remember last week's cold front came by and kicked us in the pants, and boy, it got cold. This one isn't going to do that for us, not as hard anyway. We are a little chillier tomorrow, 54, 72 on Wednesday, 69 Thursday, there's those storms, but it only kicks us down to 45 for the low. That's still warmer than tonight. And we're going to be about as warm as we are today on Friday. Then we see additional shower chances as we head into the upcoming weekend, but take a look at those temperatures, still hanging out in the 60s. Another cool day on Monday as we drop back into the upper 50s. We get beyond that, more shower chances out there, yes, but temperatures once again rebound to the 60s, so spring is going to settle in nicely here over the next several days, and it's really not going to be that bad, and other than just a few extra rain chances out there.
Which is spring, so we are prepared for that.
Spring showers. We need them, and they are coming, and the temperatures aren't going to be kicked around. So.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Stick around. We'll be making old-fashioned pierogies right after the break. Today, we're making a traditional recipe that's flavor-packed with potato filling, uses a tender homemade dough, and topped with sweet caramelized onions. Howard shows us how to make old-fashioned pierogies in the Mystery Food Test Kitchen.
Hey, I'm glad you're here, because all this week in the Test Kitchen, we're taking a tasty trip around the globe. To start things off, today we're whipping up a recipe from Eastern Europe. It's pretty obvious what it is. Pierogies. The first thing we do is boil some potatoes for the filling. While those cook, we saute a few chopped onions. After draining and mashing the potatoes, we add some of the sauteed onions to them, along with some cheddar cheese and a bit of salt and pepper. Then we take our homemade dough, which is simply some eggs and sour cream mixed with our typical dry ingredients, and roll it out until it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. Then, with a 3-inch cookie or biscuit cutter, we cut out circles and place a spoonful of the potato mixture on each one, folding the dough over the filling and sealing the edges. They even make gadgets like this to help you do it. Once all the pierogies are made, we'll boil them, drain them, and add them to the rest of our onions. Let me tell you, there's nothing like homemade pierogies. With the flavor-packed potato filling, the tender as can be dough, and the sweet caramelized onions. It's no wonder why I married a nice Polish gal. To get the recipe for our old-fashioned pierogies, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an old world way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Upper 50s today, breezy, increasing clouds. Rain tomorrow, a bit cooler, 54, 72 Wednesday. Showers and storms Thursday, 69. Morning showers Friday, 57. More shower chances this weekend, but we hang out in the 60s. And of course, a nice reminder, today is the first day of spring, officially starting at 4:24 this evening, and it is going to be a very beautiful day.
And we'll feel it Wednesday.
We will feel it Wednesday, well above normal Wednesday. And I like saying well above normal instead of well below normal.
Yeah, unless it's August.
All right, Dow, what do we have coming up at 5?
Well, at 5, since Buffalo Bills player DeMar Hamlin's life was saved on the field, there's been a big push to get more people trained to use CPR and a defibrillator. One California doctor has made it his mission to help people learn how to save lives through an app. We'll tell you about that. Plus, Joplin police talk about the increase in reports of stolen catalytic converters, and employment scams seem to be rising. Second most risky scam in 2022. Local Better Business Bureau is going to give some tips on how to avoid being scammed while searching for new job opportunities. Hope you join us. Those stories, a lot more, of course, coming up at 5.
Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you back here at 5 o'clock.